fuck? Oh my god, that's just too much fun. Alright, let's go ahead and get the microphone set up. Let's see. I'm just gonna... No, that's not gonna work. This might work though. Yes! Oh, there we go. What's up, everybody? I'm sending some messages on my inbox. But in just a little bit, we're actually going to start with a Christmas special tier list because I am waiting for my games to download. Because I can't really capture DS footage directly from my Nintendo 2DS. So what I have to do instead is get a DS emulator going and get the ROMs, and yeah, that's the only way I could really showcase it, because I refuse to put a webcam up to my DS screen, because my webcam is not good enough for that. It's ridiculous. Alright, let's see. What's a good emote for this? Okay, well, my cat wants to make a daring escape, so I'm gonna give him a cameo before I do let him out. So 1 second. All right, Eddie, come on. Come here, buddy. Come here. Come on. I want you to say hi to the chat. Come here. I want you to say hi to the chat. All right. It's okay. It's okay, buddy. Just saying hi to the chat, alright? There you go. There we go. Say hi to the chat. He really wants to leave, so... Come on, buddy. You get to say hi. Come on. There you go. Good boy. Hey. Good boy. I'm gonna find some copyright-free Christmas-ish music that we can listen to while we mess around with this nice little tier list I got set up. So here we go. Maybe there's a playlist. I want to listen to some Spyro the Dragon Christmas music. Let's see. There we go. Spyro the Dragon music is generally safe. I have gotten claimed once when using Spyro music, but it doesn't usually get claimed like on every single upload, so I'm gonna go with Spyro music. Anyway, welcome to the stream, everybody. I am Spyro the Gerudo, here to bring you a really odd tier list. Christmas specials. You know, it is Christmas Eve in the next hour. So, you know, it only makes sense that we should be talking about some famous Christmas movies. Now, there's a couple of movies on here that take place around Christmas or have a scene that takes place around Christmas. And I did not count those, and I'm also not counting Christmas films I have never seen. So, the Illuminations Grinch, haven't seen it. Any of the Sesame Street specials, never seen them. Drake and Josh Christmas, never seen it. Any of the Buddies films, I've never seen either. There's just a lot of Christmas specials I haven't seen, and just a lot of movies that take place around it that I haven't seen either. So I'm just gonna be ignoring those. So these are gonna be all the films that we talk about, and here we go. This is the list right here. And I'm just gonna go through each and every one of these in order, just from order from here all the way over to the end. These tier list videos usually take a while, but I'm still waiting for all my files to download. So it'll take a while, but it's not quite as bad. So anyway, let's get started. This is the Christmas special tier list, beginning with How the Grinch Stole Christmas, a Dr. Seuss classic, and it is also one of my favorite Christmas specials ever. It's just the right length, perfectly paced, the animation is perfect. I really don't have a whole lot to say about it other than I just love the Grinch as a character. He's simply one of my favorite Dr. Seuss characters of all time. And I enjoy watching him, you know, like his antics. I love his temperament. You know, he's somebody who just hates the Christmas season. He hates Christmas, and it's so interesting because Christmas is a holiday that everybody seems to love, but the Grinch hates it. But more specifically, he hates the way that Christmas is treated, you know. And I think they dive a little deeper into that in the live action remake, but we'll get to that one Anyway, the classic, the original, easily one of my favorite Christmas specials. Meanwhile, with Jack Frost, I think I've only ever seen this movie twice, and I never want to watch it again. Michael Keaton plays a guy who dies. and he reincarnates himself in a snowman. That is the plot of this movie. It has a scene where he has snow titties. And he says that sometimes it's good to have a big butt. So, yeah, that's literally all I have to say about this movie. It is offensive. It is offensive to the human eye, and I just don't really have any patience for it. I just refuse to take another look at it. On the other hand, we have Santa Claus is Coming to Town, our first Rankin Bass movie in the tier list, and definitely one of my favorite. This is easily my favorite Rankin Bass Christmas special. It's not S tier. It's not the top of the game when it comes to Christmas specials. But it is a unique one because you don't really see Santa Claus being portrayed as a younger person. Like, you actually see the origins of Saint Nick. And I think that's just interesting. I think the whole movie itself is interesting. So, it's definitely a classic, one that I watch every year. I still prefer the Grinch over it, but I still think that this is definitely a classic. Not the best animated, though. Like, Rankin Bass is known for stop motion animation, and it's one of the hardest forms of animation you can ever do. And it really shows with the Rankin Bass Christmas specials. Like, the only one they didn't stop motion animate was Frosty the Snowman, and even then, it still kind of has that similar art style. But again, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Now, this Christmas Carol right here, I've only seen this one last year. Like, I just watched this one last year. And this is the Christmas Carol that was played by George C. Scott. And yeah, it's not my favorite. I really like the story of A Christmas Carol. But really, I found myself more interested in the people who were in that movie because a lot of recognizable actors were in that movie. I think I recognized one person in particular the last time I watched it, but I don't really remember too much about it other than I do enjoy it. It's a Christmas Carol, so for the most part, they do pretty much go over most of the same lines word for word. And if you're into the story, you'll probably like it if you haven't watched it already. I will say that George C. Scott makes a really good Ebenezer Scrooge. So that's definitely a one that's worth watching. This is not a hot take at all, but A Charlie Brown Christmas is one of my favorite Peanut specials, and it's also another one of my favorite Christmas specials of all time. Simply because it is such a humble Christmas special. Like, it's one of those specials that is, like, the best way to describe it is it just feels special. Like, it feels like it was handmade. Like, it was handmade. It wasn't manufactured. It didn't feel manufactured. It just feels like genuine people put this together in their homes, and they just wanted to put a vision to life. And it truly feels like a labor of love. Like, once again, I have a hard time explaining it, but it's definitely not the best animated. It was animated within a span of 6 months, so of course it's going to look very jerky, but even so, it just gives off a huge Christmas vibe. Like, every character is memorable to some extent, and I enjoy watching this one because I relate so much with Charlie Brown. Like, I was that loner kid. I was that kid who would never get mail. I would have a hard time with life because I'd have the worst luck possible. And I just relate so much with Charlie Brown. Like, he's just a character I really attach myself with. He's just that much fun. Now, this, on the other hand, is going to be a hot take. Maybe this is a wonderful Christmas special, and, it is a great Christmas special. However, until I find the strength to sit through this entire movie without falling asleep halfway through, C tier. Alright, again, this is going to be more from my lack of experience watching this movie, because I've only ever watched it once. But I fell asleep trying to watch this movie all the way through. I crashed. And when I got back up, I got interested again. But really, other than that, I'm only giving this C tier for significance. But if you want my personal preference, this is the cure for insomnia right here. And people are going to be in the chat getting really upset with me, and that's totally understandable. It is a good Christmas special, but I've never sat through it the whole way through. I didn't want to just say I haven't seen it all together, but I will say that I have watched enough of it to know that, you know, it's good. It's good. It's just good. Hey Arnold Christmas is definitely another classic. Is it better than... Yeah, it is. Yeah, I don't even have to answer that question. The Hey Arnold Christmas is not my favorite Christmas special of all time, but it is one of the heavier specials that, you know, is made for, you know, children. Like, Hey Arnold was already a pretty deep show, and it went over... It's a show that goes through problems that you don't normally see on most other kids' shows. So, you know, the plot is... Hey Arnold is trying to find Mr. Wynn's daughter. So, if you don't know who Mr. Wynn is, he's one of the characters who lives in the boarding house with Arnold and his family. And Mr. Wynn tells a story of how he used to live in Vietnam, and he lost his daughter there because he wanted her to have a happy life and grow up happy and not end up, you know, being so close to, like, just close to war, because he had a family, he had a home, and they were just way too close to the fighting during the Vietnam War. So, and Arnold just wants to find Mr. Wynn's daughter, and they're trying to do this overnight, and it just sounds really hard. And this is a hard episode to watch, but it's such a satisfying conclusion, and every character just has their moments here. And yeah, it really highlights just how much of a great show Hey Arnold is. Like, not just the Christmas special, but just the show in general. Like, I fucking love Hey Arnold. It's one of those shows that I always can come back to, and just I just vibe with it. Another Christmas classic for me is the Spongebob Christmas special. Not my favorite, but definitely an A tier. For anyone who has never watched the first Spongebob Christmas special, for those who haven't, watch it. It's good. It's really good. Basically, SpongeBob is introduced to the concept of Christmas, and he's trying to bring it to Bikini Bottom, and at first things don't work out because, you know, Santa doesn't show up at Bikini Bottom. But I won't spoil it anything else from here. That's really kind of it. I will save it for you guys to watch for yourselves. It's well worth it. I think that it's such a sweet episode. And it's also got one of the better Christmas songs that's not just the usual Jingle Bells and Deck the Halls. Now, unfortunately, I can't really rank each individual episode of Rugrats. So, unfortunately, I'm just gonna have to lump them all together, including the Hanukkah special. I will include the Hanukkah special too, but you know, the Rugrats Christmas specials are nice. They're not my favorite. I prefer the SpongeBob one, but I think that's just because the Rugrats Christmas specials, a lot of the focus is on Angelica, and Angelica is one of the worst characters in the show. Not worst as in the most badly written. I'd say worst as in she is despicable. Like, I can't stand Angelica Pickles. She is a terrible kid. She is on the naughty list, high key. not just for what she does in the episode, not just what she does for the Christmas episode, but just in general. She is a very selfish, very, very bad kid. So, anytime she's on screen and anytime she has a spotlight, I just don't even want to watch it. Because she just reminds me way too much of people who are like her, and it just doesn't sit well with me. But I still love the Rugrats Christmas specials regardless. Like they're still fun. I really I love the first Hanukkah special though. That one was just great. And that one was more about Dee Dee's father and his rivalry with this other guy. And yeah, that shit's interesting because unlike most other baby shows, Rugrats actually has like situations for the adults, which is kind of fun. So it's entertaining to watch, and it definitely gives another edge to Rugrats that most other kids shows don't really have. So I'll just leave it at that. And now we have National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Definitely another classic. I'm gonna put it right over here. Oh my god. If you haven't seen the National Lampoon movies, I recommend this movie and Animal House. Those are my favorite National Lampoon films. Hands down. But this is the only National Lampoon movie with Chevy Chase that I fucking love. Alright, so can't really describe the plot to you very well, but I do love this movie. That's really all I can say about it. I'm gonna watch it again tonight, simply because it's Christmas, but it's just a great movie to watch regardless. It's just a despicable family doing despicable shit, but it gives off such Christmas vibes. And Chevy Chase is a pervert too, so that's also fun. So next we have Powerpuff Girls Supposed to Fight Before Christmas. Man, I feel bad doing this. I'm so sorry. I like this Christmas special. It just does not rank a whole lot higher. Part of it's because this episode was written well after the show's prime. Like, this was when the show changed its art style. Not really changed its art style, but more changed the animation, changed the method of animation, and they also changed writers, I think. The pacing in these newer episodes are just really fucking slow, and, the Powerpuff Girls was just a really fast-paced series at first. So, when we're going from, like, literally the speed of sound to the speed of smell, yeah, it's noticeable. And this was a very slow-paced episode for halfway through. I like the plot of it. Princess Morebugs is on the naughty list, and she decides to swap over the list to make it so she's on the nice list, and everybody else is naughty. That's kind of funny to me. What's also really funny is the person who plays Santa Claus in this special also plays Santa in this special right here. So, yeah, that's another pretty funny thing about this special. But other than that, there's not really a whole lot for me to talk about with this one. Not even if I wanted to. It's just a typical Powerpuff Girls Save the Day kind of Christmas special. And then we have Frosty the Snowman. I am definitely gonna get hate for this one. It's a C tier special. I don't hate it. It's not D tier. I don't hate it. I definitely hate the song though. I'm sorry, but Frosty the Snowman. I gotta hate that song. Like, there must have been some magic in that old silk hat they found. I think the best way to describe it is it just feels awkward. Like, the animation in it is a lot more awkward. Maybe it's because they hand drew it and it is just so radically different from the other Rankin Bass Christmas specials as a result. But I just wasn't a fan of this one. Like, I felt pretty bad about putting this one here, but at the same time, that's just how I truly feel. It just doesn't stand up to most other specials for me. The Little Drummer Boy, on the other hand, is pretty good, though. It's better than the Rugrats specials, though. Like, I feel like this one I've only watched, like, 2 years ago. I only started watching this one 2 years ago. And for the first time, it was actually really nice. It takes place during the Nativity. And it's about a boy on his journey, and like I can't even talk today. Fuck. I probably should have watched all of these first, but because I got a job and because I'm streaming Sonic games, I don't really have the time to watch all of these. But I do know I've seen every single one of these so far. So I don't really remember the plot for The Little Drummer Boy, but I do remember enjoying this one. So who knows? Whenever I do have the time to watch all of these next year, maybe this list will change. But as far as how I feel, this just feels like a B tier for me. It's not as good as Santa Claus is Coming to Town, in my opinion, but it definitely holds up pretty well. The Flintstones Christmas special is so interesting to me. Like, this is the prehistoric, this is the modern Stone Age family. Modern Stone Age. Like, in theory, it means that this is a family that, this is either post-dinosaurs or this is post-apocalypse, because, this is a family living in a Stone Age. Is it the second Stone Age? Is it the first Stone Age? I don't know. Regardless, how do we celebrate Christmas if Jesus isn't born yet? Anyway, not really. No. That's better. This is such a weird holiday special. Like, I watched this one just last week. Alright, the story is, Fred Flintstone wants to get good gifts for his family, and what he does in order to get these gifts is he actually takes on a second job at a mall. And he ends up becoming a mall Santa. And he does such a good job that he's offered to deliver presents around the world as Santa, because the Santa in their land, or the Santa in their world, just can't do it. Like, he's just too sick. So they asked Fred Flintstone to pitch in for him, and yeah, it's a hokey, weird Christmas special. It's especially weird because, this is a prehistoric family before Christ, and somehow they're celebrating Christmas. It just feels so weird. Like, it's a weird special. But it does have some heart, and it is kind of entertaining. It is Hanna-Barbera though, so definitely not up there for me, but I was glad I saw it. We haven't had a single D tier movie yet, but we're not gonna get one anytime soon because we have Die Hard. Yeah, this is not a Christmas movie by definition, but it is a movie that takes place around Christmas. And you got a lot of Christmas scenes. So, and it also ends on, I think it ends on Let It Snow. Either Let It Snow or White Christmas. I don't know which one it ends on, but I do know it ends on one of those. And Die Hard's one of the coolest movies ever made. I make it a point to watch this every year. If not during Christmas, at the very least the day after Christmas. I fucking love Die Hard. Alright. This is the only film in the series that I've watched, and I just can't get myself to watch them because I don't see them topping this one right here. This is easily among my favorite Christmas specials. And it's not even a Christmas special. It's just, like, it's an action movie that takes place around Christmas. You have Bruce Willis, and he is facing, who is the guy? I'm trying to remember the name. Let's see. What was his name? Fuck, I'm gonna look him up. Alan Rickman. Yeah, it was Alan Rickman. Like, it's Bruce Willis versus Alan Rickman, the movie. And yeah, it fucking rules. I love that film. I love this film. And I'm gonna watch it again tonight, probably. Next up we have Tim Allen's the Santa Claus, or, as I like to call it, How Tim Allen Stole Christmas. This is definitely right in the middle for me. I don't know whether I feel like I should rank it lower or higher, because there are elements of this movie I really like. There are elements of this movie I don't like. And, you know, the pieces that I really enjoy are the fact that you have Tim Allen being Santa Claus. He is a businessman who has absolutely no shits given. And he is given the task of being Santa because he accidentally, brutally murders him. Yes. Tim Allen murders Santa Claus, takes his suit, and becomes Santa. It is such a great idea, and I'm kind of glad they went with it. Because really, if this idea came up years afterwards, it would have been terrible. But I think this is one of the many one of the many Christmas movies, one of the many movies in general, where they just take a celebrity and just put them in a scenario where they become something else. You know, think Emperor's New Groove, where they made David Spade and turned him into a llama, or let's see, there was this movie about a guy who turns into a dog. I don't know what it's called, but that was another thing. But yeah, the Santa Claus, it's right in the middle for me. I do feel like watching it from time to time. It's definitely one that I'll put on if I don't feel like watching. If I don't feel like watching it and I just want to play something in the background, that's definitely one I'll put on. Now, this Christmas special right here, it's controversial. I'm ranking it at the top of B tier because I do love this special. It's not A tier for me. And it's only not A tier because I kind of prefer the first Christmas special Ed, Edd and Eddy did. The first Christmas special he did was called Fa La 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 Ed, and it takes place around July. And the Eds find a fruitcake in Double D's mom's closet, and they decide to celebrate Christmas in the middle of July. And it's such a funny and weird Christmas special that I just prefer it over Jingle Jingle Jangle. But Ed, Edd and Eddy's Jingle Jingle Jangle is still really enjoyable, because unlike most of the Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon shows, I feel like Ed, Edd and Eddy kind of evolved as a series and didn't undergo a series of seasonal rot like most other shows did. Like, yeah, the art style changed, but the way that they're drawn doesn't change, the way that they move around doesn't change, the sound editing and the pacing never changed. Literally, there was a noticeable change in the quality of the animation, and that's it. Like, it's still just as fun to watch, and Jingle Jingle Jangle still has fantastic slapstick, great sound design, and one of the funniest endings. Like, this is one of my favorite parodies of the Nativity that I've ever seen in a cartoon. Like, I can't even spoil it for you here. Just, you have to watch it for yourself if you can find it. I literally had to buy a Cartoon Network DVD just for that Christmas special. That's kind of sad, but, if it's not on streaming, it's somewhere on DVD on Amazon, so just give it a shot if you can. And here we go. We now have the live action How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I feel really bad doing this. It's not a shit film, but it's not a good one in my opinion. Like, this is one of those Christmas specials, or it's one of those movies in general that just takes a previous film, or it takes a previous work and it just kind of misinterprets it. Well, by kinda, I mean that they do get the story right. They do, have the Grinch steal Christmas, have a change of heart, and, become a better person at the end, but this is a very conceited movie. Like, all the Whos are really selfish. They care more about the presents and the marketing and the commercialization of Christmas. And I get that's what they were trying to go for, but it makes all the Whos seem very unlikable. And they turn Cindy Lou Who into someone who just becomes extremely existential about Christmas. Like, just it feels pointless because everyone's acting so commercialized, and Christmas is supposed to be a time where we're with family, not where we're supposed to be buying shit and trying to have the most extravagant lights and stuff. And it just ends up taking a little bit away from what made the original so much better. And I do like some elements of this movie. I actually really like the design of the Grinch. I really like Jim Carrey as the Grinch. He's annoying, but it's a different take that I do kind of appreciate. But I feel like my favorite aspect about the Grinch in this movie, or my favorite aspect about this movie in general, is just it's just so over the top. I love the design of this movie at points. However, I wish that the colors weren't so muted, because if they gave this movie a little more saturation, it would have been perfect. Just a little more saturation. Like, saturate it, make the screen a little bit cleaner, and you got yourself a much prettier looking live action adaptation. And they did learn their lesson with the Cat in the Hat live action movie on that regard, but they fucked up in everything else. So we won't even get to that because that's not a Christmas movie, but it is a lump of coal. The next one, for some reason, is Home Alone 3, and it's not shit. Like, it's definitely a weird one. Like, the kid in this movie who's home alone actually grew up to be like someone who's really good at math. Like, this kid is good at fucking math. Like, in real life, he's really good at math. And it kind of shows, because in this movie, he calculates all of his traps right down to the dot, because the enemies who are in this movie, the intruders who try to invade this kid's home, they can't even touch him, because every single trap just hits them every single time. Like, this dude read these motherfuckers like a book, and in a sense, that is pretty entertaining to watch, because, yeah, these people are bumbling morons, but you know what? It's kind of entertaining, though it's not as good as the other two Home Alone movies, which is saying a lot, because Home Alone 2 was nowhere near as good as the first one. Like, it's interesting at the very least, but it's not my favorite. But Home Alone 3, on the other hand, man, it's just a really dumb movie. I think it was John Hughes' last movie before he died. I think it was his last movie before he died, but I'm not entirely sure. But all I know is John Hughes had a high with The Breakfast Club. He also had a high with Home Alone. And I think he also wrote the live-action 101 Dalmatians movie, and I also enjoyed that film. But for some reason, a lot of his other movies that he wrote just weren't anywhere near as good. Like, it's almost as if he had his break, made the movie that he wanted to make, and then suddenly decided he didn't want to have to make a great product anymore, that he didn't have to try. And this is a movie that felt like it didn't try, because the writer felt like he didn't have to try. And it kind of sucks, because, it's a different kid, it's a different scenario, and they could have done a few things to make it more Home Alone-ish, and they just didn't really do a great job with it overall. It's not shit. I can at least find myself watching it for the traps. I can find myself watching it for, just the slapstick of it all. But I am not going to be watching it for, continuing the Home Alone series. Fuck that. Shrek the Halls is a weird Christmas special, though. It's not shit. It's better than The Grinch. But I have no recollection of this movie whatsoever after watching it. And it's not shitty. Like, they definitely, it's some level of effort was had, but meh is the word for it. Like, literally, I forgot I ever watched it. I will keep it on this tier list because I have watched it. I know for a fact that I've watched it, but I have forgotten literally every single detail of this movie. And yeah, I'm not gonna rank it as shit because that wouldn't be fair, but I will rank it as a D tier because if it was anything else, if it was like if I had seen it recently, maybe it would change in ranking somewhere in D tier, or maybe even go up a tier if I find things to appreciate, but it just feels like another commercialized adaptation of Shrek. It doesn't feel genuine, so yeah, just kind of sucks because I kind of prefer it over the Grinch because it's at least its own Christmas special. It's not trying to recreate something like what the live-action Grinch did with How the Grinch Stole Christmas, but even so, meh is the word to describe this movie. Merry Madagascar, not as good as the Penguin's Christmas. Like it was the Penguin Madagascar's a Christmas Caper, I think that's what it's called. Not as good. I don't really remember much of this one either. For some reason, all the DreamWorks Christmas specials just don't really. I've seen them all at least once, but I have no memory of them whatsoever. So they're all going into D tier. Maybe that's not nice. Maybe that's not fair, but again, if I had any memories of these movies, like if I'd watched them recently, or maybe if they were actually interesting movies, I would have something to say about them other than what I'm saying now, but I just don't really care. On the other hand, we have the Ximena Shira Christmas special, which is garbage. Like, I'm sorry, this is trash. It is hot garbage. It is garbage, it is trash. What do I mean by all this? Well, the answer is quite simple, really. The answer is quite simple. The ghost friend that follows He-Man around finds his way to Earth, and what ends up happening, which is pretty funny, is he ends up on Earth and he rescues a bunch of kids from, I think it was a tree falling on them. I'm not sure, but yeah, he takes these two kids to his world, and they learn the true meaning of Christmas, and the kids end up going on a journey with Skeletor because Skeletor kidnaps them, and Skeletor finds himself getting into the Christmas spirit, and oh man, it's a shitty Christmas special, but at the same time there's just a level of art to the shittiness of it. Like I have absolutely no intention of watching it again, but it is kind of a meme. This Christmas special is kind of a meme. The Invader Sim Christmas special is once again another one of those I have no recollection of, mainly because I haven't seen it in so long, and I haven't seen Invader Zim in such a long time, but I think Invader Sim is kind of like Codename Kids Next Door, where everything about the show is taken so seriously that it just becomes over the top, and depending on what kind of cartoons you were into, it either went way too far or it was just right. And Invader Zim was one of those shows that for me as a kid went a little too far for me to take it so seriously. But despite that, I do like the Christmas special. It was really chaotic and fun to watch, but that's really all I have to say about it. Like, it wasn't as good. It's just not as good because it's not as memorable. And maybe if I find it on Paramount Plus, or maybe if I find it somewhere online, I'll give it another chance and see where it goes afterwards. This is not finalized. I will put the finalized tier list probably on Twitter or something. But so far, that's just how I feel about that Christmas special. Claus, on the other hand, easily up there in my top 5. Oh my god. I love this movie. Like, it's about a postman. It's another one of those Santa origin stories. However, Santa is not portrayed as a young man. He's actually portrayed as a pretty old guy. And, you know, it's not really about him. It's actually about this postman. Like, it's about this postman, and what he has to do is, he is tasked with becoming the mailman for a place known as Smearensburg. And in Smearensburg, he has trouble trying to deliver mail because everyone in this town has only one thing to say to each other, and that's basically death threats, because these people are out to kill each other. There's just a gigantic family feud going on. So everybody is just a side on whichever side of this war that they're after. And the postman finds himself meeting up with Klaus, and the two end up kind of developing a friendship, and they find out that they really like to give toys to children, and the postman uses that as an opportunity to take letters so that he can be successful as a mailman. And yeah, it's really entertaining. That's a really entertaining Christmas special, but it's also just a great movie, and it's fantastically animated. I think out of all the movies that are on this list, including the ones I've never seen, this is easily the best animated one in my opinion, because it's a combination of computer lighting and hand-drawn animation, both traditional and digital. And I think one of the animators who was in this movie also animated characters from various Disney films. Like, I'm like, the first character I can think of is Dr. Doppler from Treasure Planet, because I recognize the animation style just right away. Like, this is just a great movie. And I know some people might disagree with me. Maybe it's overrated. If you find it overrated, that's totally fine. But I love this movie. I really enjoy it, and I do watch it once a year. Maybe not more than once a year, because that just makes watching it more than once a year kind of takes the magic away. Anyway, we are going to move on. We have Home Alone. Oh my god, Home Alone. Such a classic. There we go, right there. One thing I will say about this movie is Kevin is kind of a troublemaker, but the thing is, at the beginning of the movie, he wished he had a different family and wished he didn't have one at all, because his family was being terrible with him, alright? Like, they acted like literally every single thing was his fault, and, I don't blame him, because he was getting picked on. He was getting bullied by his siblings and his cousins, and he was always getting the short end of the stick. He was always being put down. He didn't even get the cheese pizza he wanted because everybody went and attacked it before he ever got the chance to. Like, yeah, he may be the little brother of the family. He may be the youngest one, but, he wasn't getting any respect, and he got treated like an animal for it. It just wasn't fair, and, I felt so bad for him at the beginning of the movie. Like, he just kind of deserved to get his wish, because, the family was just shitty with him. It just, I hated this movie. Or I hated the beginning of this movie, but I love so much of it. And I really like the rest of this movie so much that the way that Kevin's treated at first, it's completely overshadowed. And yeah, I really love watching this, and I especially love the Wet Bandits as well. They pretty much sell this movie, because we watched this movie specifically to watch them get hurt. Let's just be honest here. I watched the movie to watch them get hurt, and they get hurt in very fun ways. And if you just watch these movies to watch the Wet Bandits get hurt, Home Alone 2 is probably going to be just as much fun and experience. Speaking of, it's also somewhere right over here, so we're not going to be able to rank that one just yet, but we will be able to rank The Muppets Christmas Carol. And I think out of all the Christmas carols, this one might be my favorite, simply because it has the Muppets, and it's up there in my top 5 Christmas specials right now. Again, it is a Christmas carol. It's the same Christmas carol that you're used to with other adaptations, but because it's the Muppets, they have other song sequences. They have characters being portrayed by Muppets, and you have, I'm trying to remember the name of the actor who was in this movie as well. Let me look it up. I'm actually going to look up a movie he was also in, because, It's Michael Caine. All right, it's Michael Caine, but Michael Caine plays the Scrooge in this one, and he is just really enjoyable. Like, he's easily one of my favorite Scrooges. And part of it's because he's able to keep a straight face when it comes to the Muppets. And he doesn't just treat them like a bunch of cartoon characters in the human world. No, it just feels so genuine. Like, even with the Muppets, he still finds some humanity to it. And it just feels so just genuine. I love the Muppets. So, of course, I'm going to rank the Muppets Christmas Carol pretty high, but honestly, this one might be my favorite of the Muppets movies altogether, because, man, they just really nailed this one in the park. Like, man, just talking about this one in particular makes me smile. That's how good this one is. And it's definitely one I watch every year. I kind of have to watch that one every year. One I won't watch every year, though, is Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas. Not as bad as the He-Man and Shira Christmas special, and also not as bad as Jack Frost, but it is still a shit Christmas movie. Like, it's got so many problems I have with it. Like, for one thing, the first problem I have is the movie's formula. Like, every story in this movie has a fucking formula to it, and it's so easy to pick up and so predictable that it takes away from the quality of the storytelling. And on top of that, the animation is such a huge downgrade that it actually kind of makes shows from the 90s that were CG animated look good. Like, honestly, this was animated in 2004, and the Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius movie and the Adventures of Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius came out years before it, and the first CG animated feature, Toy Story, came out in 1995. And this movie has no right to look as shitty as it does. Like, literally, look at this movie. Just watch this movie and see for yourself just how ugly it is. Like, it's badly animated, but it's even worse so, it's also just badly designed. Like, it feels half-baked. It's like I'm watching like an unfinished movie just from how bad it looks. And it's not just from how bad it looks, it's just that the stories they have to tell are much more mean-spirited and much more, like, it's just much worse. Like, the stories in Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas, which I don't think is on this tier list for some reason. That's kind of odd, you know. Yeah, it's not on here. But if it were on here, I would rank Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas within my B tier. Because the Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas had 3 stories. Just 3. One involving Donald and his nephews, one involving Goofy and his son, and one involving Mickey and Minnie. And all 3 of these stories had really interesting had a really interesting plot, had interesting moral, and had really interesting moments. And more importantly, they were just genuine. Like, this genuine feeling. Like, again, it weren't the best because, you know, both of these movies are really fucking corny. But with Christmas, you can get away with corny. So, you know, it's like, it's not a big deal. But Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas is just trash. It's trash because, because all the characters just really are assholes. Like, Mickey Mouse is an asshole to Pluto, and Pluto it's like, and Pluto was like, well, actually, Mickey is a kind of an ass to Pluto, but the thing is, Pluto is kind of an ass too, because he just assumes that Mickey doesn't like him anymore, and that's why he runs away from home in one story. You have Donald Duck hating the song We Wish You a Merry Christmas because literally every fucking person on the planet is singing it on this one day, and he just wants to sit in his home and drink some hot chocolate, and he just keeps getting dragged into other shit and having to listen to the same song over and over again. Like, I feel for this guy. Man, I needed to take a short little break because I hate this movie so much. I hated this movie. I hate everything about it, but I love The Nightmare Before Christmas. Not A tier, or not B, or it's not S tier, but it is up there as one of the specials I watch every year. It's not just for Christmas; it's also for Halloween. So it's actually a double whammy, which I fucking love this movie. Like, it's one of the most influential movies for my art style too. Like, when I draw, I just love the designs of these characters. Tim Burton is a fucking genius. I just love this guy. And I love his and I just love his movies, and I love his characters. Like, it's just a fun film, but it's also, like, even more enjoyable because you have Jack Skellington, the king of Halloween, the Pumpkin King, wanting to be Santa Claus. And when he does get to be Santa Claus, and when he does travel the world to give toys to all the kids, all these toys are twisted and evil, and it's, oh my god, man, I want a Christmas like that. And on top of that, you have Santa Claus being kidnapped by the boogeyman. You have, like you have the songs, you have the animation style, like, you have just the world itself. It's such a fun and memorable movie. Like, easily one of the most recognizable films. So, you know, if you somehow have not watched The Nightmare Before Christmas, please look at it, because that one's just so much fun. And with that, we have yet another adaptation of The Christmas Carol, and it's Mickey Mouse's A Christmas Carol. So I'm gonna rank it bottom of A tier. It's so close to being B tier, but I think what elevates it is it's a 30-minute short, and somehow they cover the entire story just like that. Somehow they did it without making the pacing go too fast. I'm kind of impressed with that, because it really doesn't feel like a 30-minute special. It feels like a full-length feature. That's really impressive to me. Like, they actually managed to do that without making time feel like it's slowed down either. Like, it's just a short, and it's a really good one. It was one of the last appearances for the original voice of Donald Duck, Clarence Nash. And on top of that, you also have the introduction to Alan Young as Scrooge McDuck. And, like, it's just some great voice acting. It's just some great acting in general. Some great animation. Like, it is Disney in the 80s, so they're still kind of fresh into the dark age. Like, I think this was made around the time The Black Cauldron or Oliver and Company were being made. But regardless, I still love this movie. Like, this is not my favorite Christmas Carol, but it is within my top 3 at the very least. Meanwhile, we have Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and this is going to be a really hot take here, but yeah. Look, I'm just going to say it right here. Rudolph got fucked over so hard. Like, honestly. He was ostracized for having a red glowing nose. Everyone treated him like a freak and singled him out, wouldn't let him enjoy the reindeer games, wouldn't want to be his friend. Everyone just made him into public enemy number 1, and it just feels so dirty. Even Santa Claus is so conceited in this movie. I hate so many of the characters in this because everyone's an asshole. Everyone's a dick, and really, Rudolph doesn't deserve it. Like, Rudolph is basically this is like Chicken Little if it was a Christmas special. Maybe it's not that shitty, but it's just bad. Like, or at least the way they treat Rudolph is bad, because throughout the entire movie, Rudolph is basically on this quest. And he's on this quest with an elf who wants to be a dentist, and the elf wants to be a dentist, and this prospector named Yukon Cornelius goes with him, and they're like the only people who don't treat Rudolph like he's a fucking animal. And you also have the Land of the Misfit Toys, where they want to stay there because they're misfits, but even in the Land of Misfit Toys, they're misfits because they're not toys. Like, shit. These guys just can't catch a break. Honestly, after everything that Rudolph has gone through, I'm surprised he didn't just have this cathartic moment where he just went off on everybody. Like, what the fuck did you do? Like, what the fuck did you do when my nose started glowing, huh? What the fuck did you do? Oh, I know. You shunned me. You walked away when I needed you. Fuck you. Like, literally, everyone fucking dogged on this reindeer. And Santa Claus just comes up to him, and he's like, you know, I'm sorry. Will you ride my sleigh tonight because it's foggy? Honestly, Rudolph should have said no. Santa doesn't deserve that. He doesn't fucking deserve any of that. You know, Rudolph should not give these guys praise. Like, fuck these guys. Fuck the reindeer. Fuck Santa. And fuck the elves, too. Like, and Nogas1990 says, well, not everyone. Look, not everyone in the movie was an asshole, but a lot of them were assholes to Rudolph specifically. Yeah, like, fuck these characters. Like, the lesson of this movie is, you know, if you're not normal, you will fit in society if they find a use for you. And, it just doesn't sit well with me. Like, this whole movie does not sit well with me. It's a classic, no doubt, but I'm literally obligated to watch it every year because it is a classic. But it's aged considerably worse than any of the other Rankin Bass specials, minus Frosty. Frosty's the only one that aged worse because with that one, I just really don't feel like watching it every year. And at most years, I don't. This is one I've watched recently. It's Ernest Saves Christmas. It's meh. Like, I'm not entirely familiar with Ernest as a character. Like, from what I know, Ernest is a character who advertised a lot of products, and his whole entire shtick was he was a really annoying person. And for some reason, people kind of thought that it would be funny to have him star in movies, and one of the movies was Ernest Saves Christmas. There was also a Halloween special called Ernest Scared Stupid. There was another one that I've seen called Ernest Goes to Prison, but Ernest Saves Christmas is okay. Literally the best thing about the movie is the guy who plays Santa. Like, Douglas Seal, for some reason, just feels exactly like Santa. Just the way that he talks and the way that he presents himself, the pride and the dignity, and the way that he talks with children, the way he presents himself as a person just feels so much like Santa. Like, it just genuinely works. And it's kind of odd that it's like that in this movie, because this movie is just not good at all. Like, I found myself cringing anytime that Ernest showed up on screen because he's just a really annoying person. And, you know, if you find this character annoying, you're not going to like this movie, even if it has things that work. So, I'll just leave it at that because I really don't have that much more to say. But moving on, we have the Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause. For some reason, this movie showed up before the Santa Claus 2, but this movie was hot garbage. Not as bad as the He-Man and Shira Christmas special. In fact, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. Jack Frost was worse, so I'm going to put that one right at the bottom. Yeah, there we go. That kind of makes more sense. But the Santa Claus 3, at this point, literally, this movie series had nowhere else to go, so they decided, you know what, let's have Martin Short play Jack Frost. There's your third movie. Look, I don't think Martin Short's funny. Like, Martin Short is annoying. I don't think he's funny. So, you're gonna put him in a movie, I'm not going to really enjoy it very much. Unless the writers actually know how to make him funny. And I don't think he is. And really, other than that, I really don't have much more to say. In fact, I think the Santa Claus 3 was one of those movies that I tried to watch, And after a couple of minutes in, I just could not stand it anymore, and I gave up. And then a second time I tried to watch it, I managed to watch it all the way through, but nothing really stuck with me, other than the fact that Martin Short was Jack Frost and he was annoying. So, yeah, I think this movie's pretty garbage. I gave it 2 chances and it just didn't work out. Now, this Christmas Carol movie is at the bottom of B tier for me, mainly because out of all the adaptations of A Christmas Carol, this one is the most this one is the most spectacular in terms of its visuals. Like, this is one that I probably should have watched when it was in IMAX, because this one was a fucking ride. Like, you know, the way that the ghosts travel from the past, the present, and the future is interesting. The way that all the ghosts are played by the same person who plays Scrooge, which is Jim Carrey, that's also unique. Another element that I think works really well is, particularly well is the motion capture with the characters. Like, it's kind of a weird take for me, because I much prefer the animators to be able to create their own style, because motion capture is really just a combination of CG models mixed with human movements, and depending on who you are and what your preferences are, that's either going to be really cool or really not. I like the motion capture of this movie, but I feel like the real star of the show is just the whole cinematography. I feel like, you know, the cinematography just works really well. It looks great even for 2010, and like, it's again A Christmas Carol. Like, it's the same lines, it's the same story, but the difference is this is a much darker version. Like, this character is literally scared until he likes Christmas. Like, that's pretty much what the story is. Like, you know, like in the other adaptations, Scrooge is a man who over 3 days, or over 3 spirits overnight, he has to learn the spirit of Christmas and learn what Christmas is all about and learn not to be so selfish. But in this adaptation of A Christmas Carol, it's literally an old man is tortured until he likes Christmas. That's the whole story in a nutshell, because these ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future really fuck with him. And the visuals in this one really get fucked. Like, they get really creepy and scary at points. Like, if I watched this in theaters, I would be fucking horrified. Like, I think the Ghost of Christmas Present's death would have traumatized me if I saw it in theaters at the time, especially in IMAX. I would not want to watch that one. And Blondie Fox 606 says, if you think that adaptation is dark, wait till you see Scrooge. Yeah, well, Scrooge is right here. I've never seen it before, so who knows? Maybe I'll come back to this. And when I do, maybe I'll be able to rank that one next. But this adaptation was really fucking dark for what it was. Granted, it was a Disney adaptation. For all I knew, it could have been a very goofy film, but it really wasn't. It was definitely the darkest in terms of Disney's Christmas carols. And it's darker compared to most other versions of it too, which, yeah, it's kind of crazy. Next up, we have the Polar Express, which I feel bad for doing this, but it's a D tier. Yeah. The Polar Express is just not my kind of film. I wasn't a fan of the music. I wasn't a fan of the animation style. Tom Hanks was kind of nice, but meh. It's one of those movies that I haven't seen in a long time, and part of the reason why was because what is the story of this movie besides just a couple of kids getting on a train going to the North Pole? Like, they question whether Santa Claus is real, but honestly, if Santa Claus wasn't real, then would this giant train be coming up to your house, taking you to the North Pole? Like, seriously? just seems kind of odd to me. Don't really have a whole lot to say other than I was not a fan of that one. I can understand if anyone grew up with it and have nostalgic ties with it, but it's not my cup of tea. Now, A Garfield Christmas is one I've seen last year, and it's definitely a classic. Not my favorite. I kind of prefer the Rugrats Christmas specials over it, but the Garfield Christmas has its really nice moments. Like, Garfield just as a character, I vibe with Garfield. I vibe with him. Just wake me when it's through. Oh god. And you also get to see John's family. He has this cool grandma. And it's really just a family being together for Christmas, and you have Garfield showing up from time to time with his antics, and it's a very simple Christmas special, all things considered. It's very simple, but it's to the point. I don't really have to say much more about that. Meanwhile, we have the Santa Claus 2, and once again, I don't really give a shit about this movie. In fact, I tried to watch this movie 3 times, and twice I just could not sit through it because this movie has so much stuff thrown in that was not in the first movie that I just genuinely got confused. Like, what is going on? Just what's going on here? Who are all these other holiday icons, and what are they doing here? Like, it went from the first Santa Claus, where there was just North Pole and Santa, to just literally every holiday has their own character and everyone is represented in some way. It's like, and the costumes are not very good. It just really just sat wrong with me. I did not like that at all. So really, I wasn't a fan. I was not a fan of the Santa Claus 2. And I guess the plot of it was Tim Allen has to get married and find a Mrs. Claus, because otherwise he will lose the ability to be Santa. And what they do is they make us clone as Santa in case that happens as a failsafe and it doesn't work out. And it's a weird movie. Like, it's a lot more over the top than the first Santa Claus was, which, while being over the top because of it being a Tim Allen film, it was grounded to some extent. Like, it was believable enough for a movie, but the Santa Claus 2 just kind of went over the deep end. Like, it almost goes into cartoon territory. And if you're making a live action movie that feels that much like a cartoon, you know, that better be the intent, because if you didn't intend to make it so cartoony, then you just fucked it up. Anyway, that was the Santa Claus 2. It just didn't like it. And next up we have the Fairly Oddparents' Christmas special called Christmas Every Day. This one's a classic. Like, just, it's not as good as a SpongeBob Christmas, but I do recognize a lot of moments in this special. Like, it has it's like, I love the Fairly Oddparents' music style. The animation style could be better, but I love the music. Like, it's so jazzy. Like, especially the song where Timmy wishes every day could be Christmas. That was such a fun song. And on top of that, it's like, one of my favorite things is how Christmas Every Day is represented by Santa having to make toys every single day. It wasn't just like in Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas, where it was just the same day over and over on loop. No, every day is a new day, but you get different presents. And because it was a couple of days into Christmas, Santa can't make as many toys for Timmy and the rest of the kids around the world. And fairies can't really cast their magic because they're so exhausted from having to give all their powers to Santa. And it's like, and Christmas goes on for literally 2 weeks, and you just see like you just see this choir just singing right on top of this square, and they're having to find high ground because of how much it's been snowing, and they're just trying to figure out how to continue the lyrics for the 12 Days of Christmas on day 15. It's just, shit like that just makes me laugh. Like, this was just a really funny Christmas special. And, you know, say what you want about Butch Hartman and all the things that he's said and done, I still love the Fairly Odd Parents' first few seasons because it was just such an enjoyable series, and they had such an enjoyable Christmas special. And we have Miracle on 34th Street. I think the other one's on here too. For some reason, the original's not on here. Or I might have accidentally put it in here, but if the original Miracle on 34th Street was on this tier list, I would put it immediately in A tier, maybe the bottom of S tier, because that movie's a classic. It's like Santa Claus in court, and people have to prove that Santa Claus is real, and man, there's just something really interesting about putting Santa in court, which speaking of, we'll get to that when we get to that. But the remake for Miracle on 34th Street, I gave it one shot, and you know, I love the person who plays Santa in this movie, but other than that, it's kind of its own thing. Like, it's basically Miracle on 34th Street, but in different times with different actors, and you know, I guess the best way to do it, to say it's comparing apples to oranges. I guess it's what Doug Walker said about comparing the Santas in this movie, but I'm going with it anyway. B tier. Yeah, I think that's appropriate. It's a good adaptation. It's a good remake, but it's not my favorite personally. I won't really watch it over the original, but I will consider watching them both together. So next up we have, for some reason, A Christmas Story 2. Because 1 wasn't enough. They decided, you know what, 30 years later, let's make another Christmas story. And this Christmas story is garbage. In fact, it is the worst Christmas story out of all of them so far. And the reason why is they turn Ralphie into a disgusting creepy perv. Is Jingle on the way on this tier list? No, it is not. And if it was, I would rank it under haven't seen it yet, because I have not seen that movie yet. But I do need to give that one a look at some point, because Jingle All the Way definitely sounds like an entertaining Christmas movie, because it is Arnold Schwarzenegger playing a dad who wants to get a toy for his kid that no one else can get because it's sold out so quickly. It just screams Tickle Me Elmo, and that just sounds like a lot of fun. But anyway, A Christmas Story 2 was just garbage. It was complete trash. Like, they tried to copy the first film's storytelling, but a lot of the actors just are a lot worse. A lot of the jokes are copied because it's recognizable from the first movie, so it just felt very pretentious. And it's just a pretentious Christmas special. It just acted like it was going to be a hit. And there were jokes that were in this movie that were aged while they were shooting it. Like, honestly, seeing the shot of Ralphie playing cymbals in band and going up to sniff this girl's hair, and he fucking has an orgasm during band, like, oh my god, there was just... This is such an uncomfortable movie. I just can't. I can't sit through that one again. Like, Jack Frost, even if I forgot everything that happened, it's like, even if the whole movie was just Michael Keaton with snow tits, I would still watch that one again over A Christmas Story 2. Like, that A Christmas Story 2 sucks. It fucking blows. Next up, we have Phineas and Ferb's Christmas Vacation. I feel really bad doing this. C tier. It's nothing against Phineas and Ferb's Christmas special in general. I just really have nothing to say about it. Because, you know, it's Phineas and Ferb, which is a show that takes place in the summer, and the whole point of the show is every single day it's the same thing, except Phineas and Ferb find something else to do. And what they're doing ties into what Perry the Platypus is up to when he's stopping Doofenshmirtz, and really, it's a show that can only be as creative as the characters that they have, and honestly, I think the most creative characters they've ever had were Perry and Doofenshmirtz. Like, the rest of the characters in the cast don't really have enough to carry a show on their own, and I can understand why they really had to cram both of these story plots together. And the Christmas special for Phineas and Ferb is better than the show itself. Like, I actually enjoyed watching it more than most of these specials here. And as a show, it's definitely not as bad as I initially remembered it to be. But, again, the Christmas special I don't really have any particularly fond memories of it. I don't have any particularly fond memories of Phineas and Ferb at all. But I will say that the Christmas special is definitely one I'll come back to. It's one of the only things in this show that I actually would feel like coming back to, which is saying a lot because I don't really like the show all that much. I like the Christmas special here more than the Codename Kids Next Door one, which, if the Codename Kids Next Door one was on here, that would be D tier. It sounds like sacrilege to say it that way, but personally, I would rather watch this one than Operation Naughty. But that's just me. Also, Awesomeness Lord 101 says, greatly recommend watching it. It's a funny movie to watch. Arnold being in the film makes it 10 times funnier. Yes. Look, Arnold Schwarzenegger is an action star. He is a huge action star. Watching him in a movie where he is a dad at Christmas time just sounds hilarious. I am definitely going to watch that movie at some point. But for now, we have A Christmas Story, which is right here. Actually, no, right here. I still prefer A Nightmare Before Christmas over it. It's a very quaint movie. Like, it's about a kid named Ralphie at Christmas time. What they want to do is, or what Ralphie wants is he wants a rifle for Christmas. Like, he wants a BB gun. Everyone says that he'll shoot his eye out, and man, he does shoot his eye out, and I feel so bad for him. Oh, man. But it's about this kid who does a lot of daydreaming, and he has a lot of funny-ass fantasies. And, it's just the life of this kid with his family, and it's just a very simple Christmas special. It's a lot like the Garfield one, except the difference is this one just really kind of brings me back. Like, this one actually makes me feel like a kid again watching it. And Blondie Fox 606 says, when I was younger, the only reason I believed I had to keep watching Phineas and Ferb was because I had a crush on Doofenshmirtz's daughter. Meh. I wasn't really a fan of the character designs, and I never really grew attached to any of the characters, so I wish I had any obligation to continue watching that series, but it never came through. But meanwhile, with the first Christmas Story, it became a hit for a reason. Like, it was just a really funny, relatable, enjoyable Christmas film. It's one that doesn't really have a whole lot to say other than, bringing people into the Christmas spirit. And it's definitely aged a little bit more considerably than it used to, but I think there are stations that still play this movie every day on Christmas. So, I will actually watch this movie on Christmas Day, because this is just a really great film to watch. It's not S tier material though, and I think the only reason why is because as much as I like this Christmas special, I really don't think it has the same staying power as the specials I provided here. So, yeah. Moving on, we have Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. Ugh. I can't believe I'm doing this, but you're going at the very top of the shit list. Easily one of the dumbest holiday specials ever made. And the reason why it's so dumb is because the story is so wild. Like, literally, the whole story of this movie is right in the title. Grandma got run over by a reindeer. guess what they don't do? They don't really show Grandma getting run over until the very fucking end. That's not to say that the whole movie is about the family before it happened. It's actually about the family and how they're impacted by Grandma getting run over, but they don't show the impact. I was expecting fucking Looney Tunes style head-on collision, but no, we don't really get that with this. And really, the best thing I can say about the movie is Cousin Mel is a fucking waifu. She's a bad waifu, but she kind of still is one. But anyway, I have very little to say about Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer because, like, they just took like a really funny song and tried to elongate it into this big plot, but really, there's just nothing about this movie that sticks out. It is not fun to watch. Like, it's about this kid who wants to believe Santa is real one minute, and it's about fruitcake the other minute. It's about Santa getting arrested for the disappearance of Grandma the next minute. And then the rest of the film becomes a goddamn court case. Like, it's such a fucking weird movie. Like, it's not as bad as other Christmas specials like The Christmas Tree or the Rhapsody Street Kids, but Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer is considerably dumb in its writing. It's well animated for, its budget, but that's really all I have to say that's truly nice about it. So, we're gonna move on. We have Home Alone 2. As much as I want to shit on this movie, it's actually not as bad as, people make it out to be. Yes, it is a cash-in of the first film. Even the people who worked on the second film will admit that to you. But the difference is, are you still going to be able to find enjoyment out of this movie? And, again, if you're watching it just to see the wet bandits get hurt, then yes, you're probably going to like this movie fine. And that's kind of what I got out of it. I watched the wet bandits get hurt, and they get hurt in even more wild and crazy ways, which is even more entertaining. And then there's also the fact that we have New York City as the new place that Kevin gets lost in, and you have this concierge who's played by Tim Curry, and oh my god, he makes this movie for me alone. Like, literally, there is a scene where he finds out that Kevin's using a stolen credit card, which is really his dad's credit card. But what they do is they're showing a clip of the Grinch being played on a limo TV, and it shows the Grinch doing his wonderful, awful idea smile, and it dissolves into Tim Curry's just evil grin. Like, it is one of the most memorable moments in a Christmas movie. Yeah, a lot of people think it's a retread in the first movie. I mean, in some cases it is. Like, it is a retread in many aspects. But it is its own film in other ways. Like, really, the only points that are really similar is just the fact that, it's a very similar story. Also, Noga's 1990 says Tim Curry as the Grinch. Yes. If they got Tim Curry to play the Grinch in the Illumination Grinch film, I would have watched it day one. Hands down. I wouldn't even care that it was Illumination. Tim Curry as the Grinch sounds like my kind of jam. But I liked Home Alone 2. It's not one I come back to because I think the first film was just a little bit better. I think that I find myself enjoying that one more. But I do like to watch Home Alone 2 from time to time. It definitely has some staying power compared to the other Home Alone movies, at least. Next up, we have Tom and Jerry's A Nutcracker Tale. Oh god, I hated this one. It's not shit. It's definitely better than the Grinch live action movie, and it's better than Ernest Saves Christmas, but I'm just gonna summarize it by just summarizing Tom and Jerry movies all together, because I have never seen a good Tom and Jerry movie. And the reason why is because there are franchises that don't work in feature length. Okay, maybe with Popeye, you can make him work in feature length because you can have a bigger story. You can have a bigger cast of characters. You can have a bigger adventure. And, you can have Popeye finding a revelation about him that doesn't just involve him eating a can of spinach and literally saving the world. With something like the Smurfs, you could take a story about the Smurfs and you could take that and make it feature length. With a story about Super Mario Brothers, you can elongate a story about Mario and make that into a feature length film because there's enough staying power to actually make something feature length with it. With Tom and Jerry, it's got the same problem that Phineas and Ferb has, whereas it's the same concept, but it's a different day. So there's very little that they can do to make it work in a feature-length environment. And even then, Phineas and Ferb can work in feature length, and that's just because they have a lot of other characters involved, and they also have Perry the Platypus and Doofenshmirtz, so that also kind of helps. And anyone who is a fan of the show, please tell me in the chat how you would say that these characters act, because I haven't watched the show in a long time, so I don't really know how they would help make a film better in feature length. But Tom and Jerry just doesn't have that. Literally, cat chases mouse, mouse causes trouble. That's the whole entire thing. It works perfectly in 7 minutes. It works perfectly in 12 minutes. But if you try to cram in 30 minutes of it or longer, it becomes boring. It becomes really boring. And Tom and Jerry's A Nutcracker Tale, it's very much the same thing. Tom and Jerry, just 7 minutes. You can do A Nutcracker Tale in 7 minutes. You don't need a full-length film to make it work. And there has never been a single Tom and Jerry movie that's worked, because the whole shtick is Tom chasing Jerry and Jerry causing absolute hell and pretty much torturing and hurting Tom like fucking crazy. And, when you try to cram it all into feature length, what ends up happening is you end up putting Tom and Jerry in scenarios where they just seem out of their element. And as a result, I just can't really find myself getting into anything that's a Tom and Jerry anything that's longer than 12 minutes. It kind of sucks. It's a shame. I mean, I can definitely say they tried. There's a lot more to it that makes it more watchable than the ones that are on the shit list, but I can say with great confidence that Tom and Jerry doesn't work in feature length. It just doesn't work. Even the live action Tom and Jerry film, and as well as the Tom and Jerry movie from the 1990s, none of those movies worked either, and it's for the same reasons. And now we have Bad Santa. It's another one of those it's not really a Christmas classic, but it's another one of those movies that really kind of stuck with me because I watched it a couple years ago. I haven't watched it again recently, but I remember this one being just really funny. It's about a guy who's a really shitty Santa. And yeah, it's the name of the film is exactly kind of what it is, and it's really funny for what it is. Don't have anything else to say about it because it's been a very long time since I've watched it. Alright, I'm going to move that over because I have not seen that one. Or actually, no, that's already on here. Right there. So I don't know why it's on there twice. We have Elf. I can't really defend this one because it's not a great film, but I do love Will Ferrell as Buddy. I feel like he single-handedly saves the movie from being D tier. And I just enjoy the shenanigans he gets involved in. Nogus 1990 says, WB don't seem to realize that. They could use the Looney Tunes, their own created characters, but instead they use characters they didn't create but bought. Yeah, that's odd. They could have crossed over any other characters with Willy Wonka, for example. They could have done Looney Tunes Willy Wonka. They could have done DC and Willy Wonka. They could have done Scooby-Doo meets Willy Wonka. But instead, they went with Tom and Jerry and Willy Wonka. And it was just two concepts that really don't work, because literally all they would have to work with is Tom and Jerry chasing each other in Wonka's factory, and that's it. But anyway, I digress. We're going over Elf. Yeah, we're going over Elf. Elf is funny. All right, it's about a boy named Buddy who finds himself in the North Pole. He's raised with elves and realizes that he's not really an elf, but he's a human being. And he has a dad in New York City, and he has to go travel to New York and try and, get him on the nice list, because for some reason he's on the naughty list. And it's just a really funny movie at times. When Will Ferrell is involved, it can be funny, but it's really not a great film altogether. Like, there are times where I get kind of bored watching it personally. But I do like some moments. I think my favorite scene in the movie is where Buddy is in the toy testing room and he's like testing these Jack-in-the-Boxes. I'm sorry, but that kind of shit just makes me laugh. Like, it's so simple, but it's so effective. Anyway, we're gonna move on. We have 5 more movies left. We have all of the Other Reindeer, which, while not being particularly a great Christmas special, I do kind of find myself liking it somewhat. It was made by Matt Groening, the same person who made Futurama and The Simpsons. So, it's definitely got that same sort of style of humor, while being much more friendly towards children. It's not the biggest Christmas special for me. It's kind of weird because basically this dog named Olive wants to become a reindeer because this little roach tells her that he heard the radio and he heard that Santa was asking for Olive, the other reindeer. I'm sorry, but the plot is so stupid. Like, it's a really dumb plot, but I do kind of like it. I do like the special for just really kind of nostalgia. That's really kind of it. I love the nostalgia of this one. Meanwhile, we have Rise of the Guardians, another movie I haven't seen in a very long time, but I definitely enjoy watching it. It's not entirely a Christmas movie because, it's got other characters who represent different holidays, and you got Jack Frost as well, but Santa Claus is played by Alec Baldwin, and he plays a badass Russian Santa, and it's really fun. Like, I'm sorry, I feel bad that this movie didn't catch on the same way that other DreamWorks movies could have, but I just love to watch this one. It's not up there with Megamind as my favorites, but it's still really entertaining, and I need to go and watch it again sometime. Next up is a weird one. I'm going to actually lump 2 movies, because this is both A Miser Brothers Christmas and A Year Without a Santa Claus. Man, it's bottom of B tier for me. I feel like the most memorable thing about these 2 movies in particular is the song. The song where, you got the Snow Miser and the Heat Miser, and they have variations of this one song where it's really catchy and genius, and I like the animation for A Miser Brothers Christmas. It was like Rankin Bass was brought back in the 2000s, and I liked it. I really enjoy it, and I still need to find it somewhere and watch it again, because that one was pretty memorable. But the original A Year Without a Santa Claus is still entertaining, because it's about Santa Claus not being able to deliver toys for the children for this one year because he actually gets sick, and so they have to find somebody else to do the job for him because it's the year without a Santa Claus, or at least I think that's how it is. This looks like a What's New Scooby-Doo Christmas special. I don't know why that's there. I've never seen that. But we're gonna cap it off with the final one, Christmas with the Cranks. Yeah. This is a movie with really weird... This is a movie with tonal whiplash. That's kind of its problem. It's got tonal whiplash. I really don't know what else to say about this movie. It's another Tim Allen Christmas movie. It's just Tim Allen in a Christmas movie. What else do you want me to say? It's I've seen it. It's a crazy, batshit insane movie. But yeah, that's kind of it. It's a batshit insane movie with tonal plot problems. There we go. But anyway, this is the Christmas tier list right here. I'm gonna just share template on Twitter. Save. Yeah, we're gonna save it. Yeah, I think that'll work. Have they not heard of Christmas Vacations? Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and exit full screen. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and turn off display capture because Sonic Rush. That's the next Sonic game on the list. And I went through all these movies over the course of an hour and a half. There were so many movies. So many of them. Fuck. That actually took way longer than I wanted it to. So, I got at least an hour. So I'm gonna extract all the Sonic DS games. And I think I'll be able to play them right now, so. There we go. Alright, we're gonna go through DS emulator. I'm gonna open a ROM. I'm gonna test it out with Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing and see how that functions. There we go. I'm gonna open window capture. I'm gonna call this dis. Yes. Okay, that works. Perfect. Alright, so transform. Let's see. Quit the screen. I think that'll do it. I think this will work. There we go. I'm not playing this game for the stream tonight, but I am trying out the DS emulator. So. Okay, so far the controls seem to be working. Steer and hold left. Okay. Yeah, the controls definitely work. Yeah. Somehow there's actually a bunch of things. Alright, well, it works. This game works. So, we're going to open up a ROM and we're going to play Sonic Rush. This is the game that I was meaning to play. Yes.
Sonic Rush! Sonic Rush! Let's do it!
Oh my god.
All right! Yes! Yeah! Okay!
Okay, already I'm really liking this. This is also the first Sonic game to include boosting. Oh my god. The sense of speed. This really does feel like a better Sonic game. At first, like. So it feels kind of weird. The little gap. I may have to fix that. There we go. That was a really good run. Wow. Act 1. Let's see what kind of ranking we got.
Yes!
B! What the fuck? Probably should have done more stunts.
Let's do it!
Alright. I'm actually gonna finish my food. Like I'm making food at the moment, so it's been set up for me. So I'm gonna take care of that and I'll be right back. I'll be right back. So sorry for the wait, everybody. My bacon sandwich kind of burned, so I was trying to eat it, and it was kind of like eating a hot dog. But take a look at right here. I'll give you guys a little taste test just so you can hear how burned it is, because it's just listen right here. Just listen. It's like eating a crouton. However, the bacon does kind of save it. Oh my god. I'm gonna pop that in the chat. See what we got over here. I've got morning duty for a nice half day at work. Ooh. Oh wow. You actually have to work on Christmas Eve. Ah man. Don't worry. The stream will be available on YouTube. So that's gonna be good news for you, Glacia. I hope you have a great day at work, and I hope you have a great Christmas Eve. In the meantime, I'm trying to make sure my fingers aren't I'm actually gonna pop on some Christmas specials on my TV so that I have something to watch while I'm playing the Sonic Rush. So, I actually have the original cartridge for this game. So, all the Sonic games on the DS and the 3DS, I own them, so. Originally, what I was wanting to do was I wanted to get a Nintendo 3DS with capture card stuff on it, or with like a capture card on it. But those are extremely hard to find these days. Like, I don't know how to capture footage directly off of a 3DS. And all of the tutorials, all the possible tutorials that there could have been for it, I just couldn't find anything, so I gave up and thought, yeah, I may as well use an emulator. Using an emulator is not as fun as the real thing, like, especially for the DS. Like, the DS is one of those consoles that you kind of really need to play it in person to truly appreciate it, because, you know, I love the DS. I prefer the 3DS. Like, I think the 3DS I have much more of a personal attachment with the 3DS. But I actually have had the Nintendo DS Lite for many years, and one of my favorite games to play on it was Guitar Hero on Tour. Like, Guitar Hero on Tour was such a great game because you plugged a guitar piece right onto the Game Boy Advance slot. It held DS vertically, and it was Guitar Hero on the go. And it was a better Guitar Hero on the go than any of the mobile games. Like, there's a mobile game I have right now called BeatStars, which is basically just... It's basically sort of a mix between Guitar Hero and Dance Dance Revolution, but with a lot more varied songs and more varied genres. It was something sort of like that, but it's just not the same as Guitar Hero on Tour. Like, one of my greatest achievements in that game was playing one of the hardest songs in the game to 100% on a bus ride. Like, that's such a special game to me. It also had one of the hardest songs ever. I Don't Want to Stop had, for some reason, just had the absolute hardest solo ever. Like, I still have never completed it before. Like, I've never completed it 100%. And I've wanted to try and do that, but in order for me to do that now, I need to get another DS Lite, because my current DS Lite has screen problems, it has hinge problems, and oh man, my current DS Lite needs a repair. Like, it needs a new screen and it needs new hinges. Everything else on it works just fine. It's just that I can't really use it much anymore. I'm still picking up fucking Christmas with it. I may go for a Muppets Christmas Carol again, because that's just a classic. Funny. Garfield and Garfield the Tale of Two Kitties is on Disney Plus. I don't know why. Okay, here we go. Here's the one. Definitely. All right. Yeah, so what's interesting about this game is, like, the boost meter, when it gets to a certain threshold, like, it actually makes you have infinite power. There we go, now I have unlimited boost power. That's pretty exciting, actually. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, this is exciting. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get all the Chaos Emeralds, but I still don't even know how to get Chaos Emeralds in this game. Shit. go. This. Oh my god.
Yes!
Got an A rank out of it. Nailed it.
Here we go!
Hey man, what are you up to now?
Sonic, you little pest. Soon ultimate power will be within my grasp. And I shall be invincible!
Ha! I may not know what your plan is, but it's never gonna work. Oh god, we got the first boss.
Hey, Nick!
Oh my god, this is
Get ready to be cool!
I gotta add the
Get ready to be cool!
for a Nintendo DS.
Get ready to be cool!
Oh shit, oh shit.
Yeah, let's go.
2 more hits. Yeah, I think if I had a DS a lot sooner, I would. Shit. I didn't think it was gonna go back like that. Glad I didn't get hit. Oh, fuck.
Hey, Nick!
Best thing is like music is so different from the other Sonic games we've played at this point.
Get ready to be cool!
Jazzier, so much catchier. It's almost like a mixture of Sonic meets Rouge.
Hey, Nick!
In terms of the music style. There we go, we're about to get to the final hit. Come on. Yeah, this is exciting.
Get ready to be
Alright, come on, come on.
Yeah!
Victory is mine.
You'll regret it!
You're going to pay for this. What's this? Oh, here we go. God, yes. So this is the introduction to Blaze the Cat. And yes, Blaze the Cat is playable here. So that's pretty exciting.
Should we try this again?
Yeah, B rank, not too bad. Hey, what's up? I think it's kind of a crazy scheme, and we saw some mysterious girl. Things are starting to get interesting, eh, Tails? Idle hands can be a dangerous thing, Sonic. This ultimate power that Ernest spoke of. I wonder what kind of power he was talking about. Don't even worry. Whatever he decides to do, we'll stop him. Let's go, Tails. I know I can always count on you. Alright, I'll be your navigator from now on. Playable character, Blaze the Cat. Yes. So now we actually get to choose between playing as Blaze, I think. Right? I don't know. But yeah, this is the map. The map's pretty cool so far. Are you sure you want to play this zone? Oh, here we go. I played this level with Sonic Animation. Yes. Oh my god. I really like how Sonic's jumping. Yeah, I think it's starting to slow down a little bit because the open. Yeah, it's slowing down. Did the game always slow down like this? I don't know. It's all good. It's like they combined the elements that made. Like, take the elements that made Sonic Advance 2 work, combine them with the elements that make Sonic Advance 1 work. So far, I don't know how Chaos Emerald progression will work yet. That's still kind of I don't know, but all I can tell you is this water level is really slow. I'm not really gonna try and go for all day. If I try to go for all A ranks, so at least with this game, I'm not even gonna bother trying to go for all A ranks. I know with Shadow, I wanted to go for it. Wow. Okay.
Let's do it!
Ah.
do it!
Ooh, let's take the uppercut. There we go. This water section is good. Okay, we made it. That was kind of irritating. So really, that was just more the emulator slowing down on me. So I can't really blame the game for that, because this is still pretty fast.
Yes!
Somehow I still got the A rank after losing those lives. Holy shit. Let's see, save state. Save state 1. So shift F1, and then F1. Okay, so shift F1, save,
Let's do it!
and just F1. Okay. Separate bios. There you go.
Let's do it!
Try it again. Ooh, yeah. Alright, the trick system already is kind of a winner, because you can actually do a shit ton of tricks and get unlimited boost. There's something really satisfying about that. What's not so satisfying is that, like, you can't boost from a jump, which is irritating.
Let's do it!
Like, granted, this is the first time we see the boost mechanic proper, so... Try it again. Technically, we got unlimited lives saving, but yeah. We'll try it again.
Let's do it!
I'm kind of worried how the 3DS emulator will play out. I think with that one, I may end up kind of worried with the 3DS. I'm not sure if my computer is capable of running that. I don't know, maybe. What I might do at the end of the stream is try out maybe I'll try a 3DS emulator, see how a game I really like works. And if it works, like if I can actually run a Sonic game on it, then maybe, just maybe, it won't be so bad. I don't know. I have a feeling that because my computer is not necessarily as powerful, it's not as powerful as most of the PC. Considering it's really hard to get good PC parts nowadays, like graphics cards, CPUs. I'm gonna bother with that. Apparently you get these special rings. I don't know if you require the 3DS emeralds, but if they are, oh my god. Oh my. Oh yeah. This is set. Alright, I didn't save state, so I'm just gonna have to suck it up and deal with it.
Let's do it!
Okay, I hear it. Good. Alright, I'm gonna shift one.
Let's do it!
go. The platforming in this is really hard. Hey, it's been a while since we had a challenge like this.
Yes!
It's still got an A rank out of it. Impressive.
Here we go!
I'm not gonna say that name because that name sounds very, very, very close to a word that is very disrespectful to people. So I will not say it. Never fought this one.
Hey, hey.
I know I played the first few levels, and I know I played the first one. This fight. I think I have to wait for an opening. Yeah. That's what I'm supposed to do. Okay. Okay, so I think what I have to do is I have to make sure that I hit him. And if I hit him, I'll be able to get a breath of air so that I don't drown. Be careful because I could end up drowning. Oh. There we go. Yeah, let's go. Fuck. More hits to go. I love how Tails is just cheering you on the bottom screen. That's kind of cute. One more hit. One more hit to go. Get ready. Here we go. I'm gonna play a couple more stages tonight.
Should we try this again?
Man, that was not very good. glad we don't have to hear. I'm glad we don't have to hear the dialogue. This looks like Tails' workshop, I think. Something's wrong with the space-time continuum. Oh. Alright, so from what I gather, with the space-time continuum being in shambles, I have to play, or it's like I have to clean up after Sonic and plays.
Let's do it!
No, it's like, no, Sonic and Blaze have to clean up after Oh shit. Enemies have health bars in this one? Oh god. It was one thing when the 3D Sonic games had them, but oh shit. Jesus, this game has health not grow up with this one. I probably would have really loved to play it. So this act right here is kind of fun. Like the whole you have to destroy all the enemies in order to move forward shit. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of that. There we go. Oh, there's 2 enemies left? Okay, I see. Oh man, we're on the outside. Oh god. Well, there goes my Okay. Okay. Okay, we made it. I'm guessing we have to beat all the levels that Sonic can play these. I guess that's why this game is not so long. Or at least it doesn't feel very long. We're already on the third act.
Yes!
Like, well, we're already in the third zone. So, we're at Mirage Road, Act 2.
Let's do it!
Oh god. Ready, set, go. Alright. Alright, I'm going. Alright, there we go. Here's what I'm gonna do. After I finish this level, I'm gonna finish the stream for the night. There won't be an art stream tonight because it is running really late. And I do want to get some artwork done on Christmas Eve. And on Christmas Eve, I'm not going to be streaming. On Christmas Day, I won't be streaming. So, yeah. It's going to be... I'm actually going to take 2 days... I'm actually going to take 2 days off of streaming. But I got patron requests to finish first, and then I got some commission after that, so... Oh my god, this is nice. Oh my god, that was... One thing that's really cool is whichever screen you're on, that's where all the HUDs go to, so that's kind of cool. Oh shit, now we're... keep at least one reindeer. I know for a fact I'm gonna Alright. Saving here. At least I noticed that if you look up and there's no rocks, then that means that it's probably an egg pond, so. Okay. We made it. Alright. I'm gonna skip the animation. Can I skip the animation? Nope, I can't skip the animation. Yeah. We're gonna continue. Oh my god, there's a zone. Okay, no, there's a boss guy. Okay, it's just a boss guy. Alright. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna save state tonight. So, that's gonna conclude the stream for tonight. The next stream, I don't know when it's gonna be. It might be a week. It might be a whole week from now because after Christmas Day, I got 3 work days in a row. So, I don't have my next schedule for the week, so I don't know what days I'll be off. But I will say that I will try to come back to stream within the week. So, sometime next week, I will be able to continue Sonic Rush, but. Yeah, so far I'm actually really liking this game. So I hope you guys had fun. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you guys come back for more because this is a surprise. Like the Dark Ages Sonic really had a lot of stinkers, and this one is just not. And I'm happy. I'm happy it isn't. So yeah, and it makes me feel excited for Sonic Rush Adventure because that's also got similar gameplay style and. Yeah, this is gonna be a fun one. So I hope you guys really enjoyed the night. I'm gonna go call a friend. I'm gonna go and do some artwork as well. I hope you guys have a great night. Have a pleasant holiday. Have a Merry Christmas. I won't be live on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, but I will be doing some artwork, and I will be texting friends. So, have a very happy holidays, everybody.